Going to be looking at one more match of this round. It's going to be Cydonia versus Astrogation. Both of these players, again, no big deal, just Cydonia versus Astrogation. I believe they are both also 6-2.
Wow.
So, again,
this
I believe is a win and in, lose and out. A lot on the line here for these guys. Cydonia, a Canadian player for Team Solo Mid, has an HCT Americas Championship under his belt. Single-handedly swept the Chinese team in NA versus CN. He has a phenomenal Hearthstone history. And Astrogation as well. He is a ladder grinder. He's an Open Cup grinder. You've seen him formerly on Team Splice alongside the Rat. He's a great player who just, a little bit like Cydonia, needs a couple more of those big wins to cement themselves in that professional scene. Both players very highly respected and very highly respect each other. And we can jump right into game number one. They are currently underway with this one. So let's see where they are. Cydonia on the Jade Druid, Astro on the Rogue. And it's turn 3. Astro's got a 6-2 and an 8-8. So I can make a quick prediction on how this game is going to go.
Surprise me.
I think Astro might win.
Okay.
All right, you know what? The overlay actually may be incorrect because Cydonia is on 7 mana, but he's also just playing Druid. So.
I was going to say, yeah, that's probably about right. Druid starts on 4.
That's probably just right.
A couple of turns, it seems about right.
Yeah, it's probably just right. All right, so Astrogation going to get in for 14 damage this turn.
Like you do.
Just a casual 14 damage on turn 4.
And then he's going to play a really big threat, because why not?
Yeah.
This is Fledgling, just the card you have to deal with after you've dealt with the 8-8 and the 6-2.
Yeah, there we go. We've got those scores updated, but Cydonia is very far ahead. He's got 2 Spreading Plagues. He's very far ahead in mana, and he's got the 2 Spreading Plagues to buy him some time. He doesn't have Doomsayer to throw behind them, though, to actually kill anything on this board.
That's his first Jade, so this ramp has been wild growth by the look of it. It wasn't a Jade Blossom. But
wild growth in the Nourish.
Just going to chop through all this. I guess he can't really chop through in the way. This is actually a surprisingly efficient Spreading Plague. Because of the low health totals of some of these minions. And because of Astrogation's really awkward thing where he's got all 3 drops and 5 mana. Wonder if we'll see him just drop the Tar Creeper, maybe face bump into the 1-5.
I think you really want to protect Keleseth and the Vicious Fledgling unless there's a swipe in Cydonia's hand. You want to just try and keep your board alive. It's pretty fragile now health-wise. The Spreading Plague kind of did its job. It soaked up 17 damage this turn.
And it's going to do the same again next turn to some extent, although Astrogation's hand is much more suited to a 6 mana turn than a 5 mana turn.
Yes, and even more suited to the 7 mana turn. Cydonia's got Mind Control Tech. What is it going to be? This could be a huge steal for him.
Or it could be a tough.
Even that's a big steal.
I guess, yeah.
All right, you take the 6-1. It's a trading tool, right?
It's been an insane game of
way to get rid of it. Yeah, it's been about 3 turns and things are already
just
really crazy.
Off the charts crazy.
I mean, what must have happened in the first couple of turns for Cydonia for him to be able to contest an 8-8 Edwin and a 6-2 Keleseth by turn 3 for the Rogue?
Like, that just should be game
what
over.
Must he have done? Usually that's just it.
I just love how Hearthstone is right now, where you can just smash each other with ridiculous things that don't feel fair, but somehow it works out about 50%.
We have some more news about players who have made it through to the top 16. Earl is 8-1. That's another name that I'm not very familiar with.
I know actually on this occasion either.
That is a shocker indeed.
Which means it's probably the world champion or something.
But one name that you do know, Hot Meowth of Panda Global is 7-2. Yep, he finished last DreamHack Montreal. Was it top 4?
4 or 8, I think.
Top 4, I believe. So he's making another run for top 16. We are seeing a lot of repeat performances here at DreamHack Denver.
It was interesting casting Meowth as we wait for Cydonia to make this turn yesterday with Admirable. He hadn't seen him for a while since the World Championships.
Yeah, Meowth has grown so much as a player.
Admirable was just blown away by how much Meowth has just cemented his skill level, basically.
He has improved so much. And Cydonia as well. those two are actually also practice partners in that same friend group. And since their respective HCT Americas performances, their respective HCT Americas championships, they have both become such better technical players, even though their results have not reflected it. So to see finally their results start matching up with the level of caliber of these players is really, really satisfying
and
for them,
it's over
I'm sure.
and over again for these two guys now. I mean, Cydonia it was a friendly joke, but a little bit of a joke with his DreamHack first 3 attempts. He was like 0-2, 0-6 at 1-3 or something. They were just like disasters. They weren't quite that bad, but he had the worst record of anyone who like regularly played. And he's reversed that now. He's well in the plus column now.
He can put himself even further into that plus column with a DreamHack top 16 if he just wins this series. But Astrogation as well is a player that I have seen at every DreamHack that I personally have attended. So all 4 of the North American DreamHack tournaments this year.
And he's a regular on the other circuit, the ONOG circuit as well,
yes,
I believe.
He is.
Quite good results there.
He always does well, but he's never done well enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. But I think we are starting to recognise that these are the players to watch out for. Not necessarily the player who wins one tournament and you never see them again.
The players that have those repeat solid performances.
7-2, top 8, top 4, that sort of stuff over and over. Meowth, Cydonia, these players, these are good players and they are proving it. And racking up a few dollars along the way, I'm sure. There's quite a lot of money in coming top 8, top 4 repeatedly. Meanwhile, this Rogue versus Druid matchup has still continued to be insane. Astrogation made the most of that turn 7, as you said he was going to. And now Cydonia is running out of ways to stop it. Like, he's stopped so much this game, but it's now having to just hold on in there as best he can.
And another fun tidbit, this one is actually, I was unaware, there is a 12-year-old MTG kid, I believe is his name, who has just made it through to the top 16. With a 7-2 record. And that means that there will be definitively no 6-3s making it through to the top 16. Only 7-2s. Whereas at Montreal, we had something like 7 6-3s that made it through. Very, very different tournaments. 12 years old, Lorinda.
That means I can't swear on stream.
I was not a even halfway competent person at 12 years old.
I'm not a halfway competent person, about 9 times 12 years old. I've had 9 goes at being 12, by the way.
Absolutely incredible. Astrogation has 6 damage. Cydonia just at 9 health and living off of the top of his deck. This one is not looking good for Cydonia. It wasn't looking good when we came in on turn 3 for Astrogation. Cydonia managed
stabilized a little.
Yeah, double spreading plague. He got rid of the initial assault, but the follow-up from Astro was just too much. And Astrogation is going to take game number 1 with the Rogue. And this is the danger of banning not Rogue.
Yeah, we've seen that. I mean, I didn't think that banning Rogue was essential coming into this tournament. My mind is rapidly being changed.
I'm changing my mind. My brother is playing in the tournament as well, and we were doing some deck testing beforehand, and he ultimately ended up going with a Priest ban because, you know, it just makes sense as well, right? Highlander Priest is so threatening. You don't want to have to deal with Priest because it's so consistent across the board. But then you think about the nature of Last Hero Standing and the sweep potential of these tempo aggressive decks, and Rogue is just an absolute killer. It has been a champion of this tournament so far.
And he had a revelation after his first 3 rounds as well. He was 9-0 with Rogue.
He was 9-0 with Rogue, and then he quickly got swept with Rogue a couple of times. So he was, you know, experiencing
15-0 with Rogue, either
experiencing both sides of the emotional roller coaster there. And Cydonia right now, I'm sure, is on his own emotional roller coaster. He's down 0-1, and this is crunch time. This is Cydonia's win and in. He wants to meet some of his friends in that top 16. He wants to meet Shoop. He wants to meet Hot Meowth. He wants to meet Dr. Jickaninky. But Astrogation as well. Astrogation wants that title. He wants the recognition.
And he has the hand to maybe blow this particular series wide open if he can beat the attempted counter from the Shaman. We've seen this time and time again. If the Shaman loses to the Rogue, things get nasty in a hurry.
That's why you bring the Shaman. Shaman should have a good matchup against Rogue. In Cydonia's last match on stream, he got destroyed by Rogue. And he turned it around this time. Find a different result. He's certainly hoping so.
He's hoping so, but he's going to have to keep hoping looking at this hand. This hand, Astrogation, is pretty much what you would want.
It is.
There's no Keleseth opener.
Gas. Yeah, no Keleseth opener, but you have a curve. And the curve, above all, is the most important thing when you're playing a tempo deck like Rogue, like Zoo, like Shaman.
So Astrogation, the time-old question is, what do you want to do with your patches here? But with Captain coming down on turn 2, I think you just play the Swashbuckler.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a reason to not play it, but...
The Fire Plume Harbinger will actually give Astro a discount on that Tar Creeper.
Why not?
I mean, it's something.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes some of the later turns a little bit easier, and joking aside, just being able to slip an extra 1 point of mana in there somewhere is so important in this matchup where they're going to be cutting plus all the way in the early turns.
Another deckhand off the top, not what Astrogation was hoping to see. But with the trade over the Golem, the Captain is now resilient on board, dead to Maelstrom Portal, but if you're Astrogation, you're just hoping Cydonia doesn't have it, and he does not have it. Maelstrom would have been sick here.
Yeah, and this is where if you get behind a Shaman, things go wrong. If you get that Primal Fin down before the Captain, you're in such a good spot. You get it down after the Captain, and the fight's not quite so fair.
No, Cydonia is going to have to wait for the Jade Lightning next turn to take out the Captain and just get the kill on the Swashbuckler this turn. But that means that Astrogation gets ahead even further on the board. Shaman has a tough time coming back from a board deficit. They've got Devolve, they got Maelstrom Portal. The board clear potential is better than the Rogue, but the Rogue is just faster now.
It has so much going for it, this hand. I mean, one thing that happens with Rogue in the early turns often is that you don't have much choice. You kind of just play on curve and see. Astro's got to really think about this.
He's got some options.
You want to get that dagger online, but you don't want to spend the time doing it. You normally want to just do it on turn 2, but the turn 2 coin Captain was that much better than normal. There was no need. So he's just taking the time to make sure that dagger gets up there.
Important to have a dagger equipped for whenever you may need it. And you just get to have the added benefit of the deckhand coming down, clearing off that healing totem, ensuring that Cydonia doesn't get favorable trades with the Flame Tongue, for instance.
Do you just backstab this and keep your board nice and steady, or do you need to?
Do you even need to kill it? Corpse Taker is going to have Wind Fury. Will it have Divine Shield? I don't think so. No, it does have Divine Shield.
Has everything.
All right, help me out here. What Divine Shield minion is Astrogation playing?
Argent Commander? That's all I got.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
I'm not sure that's right, but that's all I got.
It's gotta be. We know he's playing Stormwatcher. That's where the Wind Fury comes from, but yeah.
And he did go with the backstab just to defend this Divine Shield. That's how much he rates the fact this is just going to get in there for a whole chunk of damage. 6 a turn.
It is really interesting, the different kinds of Rogue decks that we've seen. There is the traditional Tempo Rogue, base with Keleseth, double Cold Blood Leroy. Then there is the Elemental Rogue, which has the Tar Creepers, Blaze Callers, Tolvir Stone Shapers, goes a little bit heavier on that Elemental game plan, and is favored in the mirror against other Tempo Rogues. Now we've got Astro's version, which is Corpse Taker Storm Watcher, which is just a little bit more aggressive on board with those heavy Wind Fury minions that you can benefit so heavily from with Bone Mare, with Cold Blood. And then you've also got Shoop's version, which is that Pirate variant. So all 4 of these versions of Tempo Rogue performing so well, even though they all are quite significantly different from each other. So many different tech choices that these players are making for the same deck, essentially.
Yeah, it's not even a tech choice as such. I'll go further.
It's just like
a lifestyle change.
Fundamental deck choices.
They all are Tempo Rogue, and beyond that, there's probably 16 cards, 18 cards overlap.
Yeah,
a lot of change in a lot of them.
It's not a deck right now that is 28 cards firm, pick 2 tech choices.
It's Bone Mare, pick 28 cards. Have some 1-drops and a Keleseth while you're at it.
Assume there's a Patches in there somewhere.
Yeah, and don't play Eviscerate, because then things go bad.
Feels bad, man. Well, Astro can clear off the Mana Tide and still attack again. Get the Mana Tide and the 3/3 on board if he wants to, and just find value with the Corpse Taker. If it were a couple turns later, he could also go very aggressive. So does he want to just set up the Tar Creeper and try to keep the Corpse Taker around for a couple more turns and then really hit pay dirt with that Wind Fury?
Yeah, I think he's just making sure, and he's decided it's okay to kill it. It's not one of those situations that sometimes kill it where you just go, you know, your Mana Tide is too slow. Sometimes you just leave it there because cards don't matter. But this is too early for that.
clearing it every time, and Cydonia is in a bad position. The patches pickup is not what he wanted to see. If he could find Doppelgangster, Doppel Evolve could potentially get him out of this one. Very difficult for Rogue to clear off those minions.
I mean, I'm just looking at turn 7 here, and I'm looking at a 3/3 Wind Fury minion and thinking, that's got 2 turns before it wins the game. And Astrogation is making sure there's taunts in the way this turn. Next turn, he'll probably have some good trades going on. And this 3/3 might just survive all the way, and then it starts getting Bone Mare Wind Fury effects, and things just go, well, things go win.
This is an example of why we haven't been seeing Shaman. Shaman was the common 4th deck choice, the deck that I expected to see a lot of.
Yep, same.
In place, we've seen a lot of Warlock, a decent amount of Paladin, and both of those classes have been doing very well. Shaman, underperforming.
Yeah, Warlock also we found has been able to fight the Rogues. The people who successfully had already realized that Rogue is insane rather than just really good, they're the ones who brought the Warlock, and they're the ones who've had a chance of fighting it off. But everybody else has just been getting mown down by, like you said, all these different Rogue decks. And every time we get into these positions, we just see the Rogues have... It's not just the fact they're in front. They have so many options when they get to this stage every time.
And that doesn't make much sense, because the downfall of the deck should be that it has no card draw. It has no health generation. But it doesn't seem to falter anywhere along the way in those early turns with the curve, so you don't have to worry about running out of stuff to do. Even freaking Avalanche here gives Astrogation a really nice trade on that thing from below.
Yeah, Rogue. One thing that Rogue does do better than any other class as well is use random cards somehow just seem to make it work. It's almost like it doesn't care what card it gets as long as it gets a card. And it uses that so well. That's why Swashbuckler is so good. And here we go. This is just saying, I'm going to beat you next turn.
2 more well-known names through to the top 16, Monsanto and Rosti, both as well. Wow. HCT experience. Rosti actually took 2nd place to Cydonia when Cydonia won his HCT Americas Championship.
Maybe, although Cydonia has to win this first, and winning this is looking a long way off.
Well, he is dead. Astrogation just has the damage through to face with this Wind Fury Corpse Taker, showing why his particular build of Rogue is good enough. Not even good enough, it's great.
He planned, I mean, I'm trying to word turn 7 Bone Mare a variety of different ways, but he planned keeping the 3/3 Wind Fury on board to turn 7 there, right from about turn 4, where he just...
Where he committed to playing that Tar Creeper and protecting the Corpse Taker.
Rather than going face, he just went with, I'm not going to let you kill this Corpse Taker until I manage to Bone Mare it. That plan was executed from turn 4 onwards. It wasn't just how the cards fell. It's something he consciously set out to do with the trading, the way he could have gone face a couple of times, and made sure that that was going to stay as it was, stay on the board.
Now Cydonia has a long uphill battle against him. He needs to win 3-0 with Priest. It's doable.
It's definitely doable.
But it's tough. Rogue against Priest is, I would say, pretty good for the Rogue, especially when you've got Cobalt Scalebanes, when you've got Stormwatcher, which is naturally a 4/8. Priest can really struggle.
So he's got the early Potion of Madness, he's got early Shadow Word Death, which comes in handy more often than you'd realise, I think. He's got the Talon Priest for a little bit of board occupation. This hand, it's not there yet, but if you're going to beat Rogue, you don't mind this hand. Obviously, there's a Mind Blast, that's a waste, but you can't have everything. You're a Priest. You've got one of everything. You're supposed to miss some things.
And some other top 16 news. Unfortunately, Chalky was defeated in game number 5, which means Cap 9 will be through to the top 16.
Cap 9, another player who, whenever you're doing stats for HCT, that sort of thing, his name turns up. I can't tell you much about him, but his name appears in lists.
Maybe that's a draw. Keliseth off the top on turn 2. What more can you ask for?
I want a 7/7 Wind Fury on turn 7.
Ask
he just had
and
that.
ye shall receive.
Yeah.
We may very well be seeing it. Cydonia's got a nice early start to battle against what Astro puts on board. The Cabal Talon Priest even just as a pile of stats is often good enough against Rogue when the early minions are South Sea Captain is a 3-3, SI7 Agent is a 3-3. It just has favorable stats against Rogue on those early turns. Unless you play Kaliseth and then your captains are 4-4s, and that Talon Prix sucks.
Prix in general sucks when you got 4-4s against it. He may well be tempted to trade these two in.
All right, Astrogation is just, he's playing dirty now. This is something.
I mean, it's never over.
I don't have a lot of words for this.
Quick one about Cap9. I know from checking out this morning that on his Twitter he's saying free agent looking for a team. If you're a team out there and you want somebody in the top 16 of DreamHack, you've got about half an hour to get somebody and snap them up.
That's plenty of time.
Yeah, you can get in touch with Cap9 as quickly as possible through his Twitter.
You can just email them a logo, have them printed out, and tape it on their chest.
Yep, and we'll read it out.
It's good enough. It's good enough. Man, I really, really like both of these players as people. Astrogation is super, super nice. And Cydonia is just one of the smartest guys you're ever going to meet.
I respect Cydonia so heavily with his work ethic as well.
I do as well. He has been grinding for the last few months as far as stream time, just really trying to take his career to that next level and solidify it as a Hearthstone career. I just don't think that this is going to be his game. It is really tough.
Day for him, but
that Potion of Madness Cold Blood turn, however, did clear off the two biggest threats on board, so he's certainly still in this. He's not out. Shadow Word Death can come out onto the Cobalt Scalebane, remove that thread. Then you pick up Dragonfire Potion, hopefully, and remove the other threats that come down onto the board. So Cydonia still has a great shot to take this game and start the reversal.
Yeah,
but it is
he's
tough.
Looking good with his Acolyte into Talon Prix, but the problem with that is he just blows up to the Vilespine. Vilespine's so good at restricting what you can do with your minions. We're in a play minion, buff minion format, and Vilespine just laughs at buff minion, half of that.
Ha.
I laugh at your minion buffed.
Dead.
Those plants.
Now, if only I could draft him in Arena.
So many options.
Keep trying. You'll get there. Have you tried
Try
picking
a
Rogue?
lot. I have. But I get Defias Ringleader and Deadly Poison.
This sounds like good cards. Have you tried playing it in the last 3 years?
Now, that might be the problem.
You've still got a deck from 2014.
That's very possible. All right, Shadow Word Death can take out the Cobalt Scalebane, but then what does Cydonia want to do with the remaining 2 mana? Had the buff gone onto the Firefly, Holy Smite would have taken that out, so unfortunate for Cydonia that the buff did land on the Corpse Taker, but at the very least, this Corpse Taker doesn't have Wind Fury. Only 1 copy of the Stormwatcher in deck for Astrogation, and it was drawn.
Yep, and Cydonia will know that. You'll have a good idea onto the hand, obviously, now. Cydonia just not getting anywhere this game. No Raza, no Kazakas,
no combo pieces.
No Velen, because sometimes you can sneaky Velen win without any combo.
No combo pieces and no effective AoE.
How? In fact, this should be almost impossible. He's managed to just get nothing. It's one of the downsides.
Just get nothing.
How do you get no removal, no combo pieces, and no card draw or AoE?
He's elected to run Lyra instead of Gadgetzin. Not that the Gadgetzin would have been playable yet anyway. But sometimes you do just get a clunky draw with some pieces of the combo, like Pint-Sized Potion, but you don't find Horror. If he can find Horror, he's going to be looking pretty good.
Pretty good. He's going to need it very soon.
The Stormwatcher comes down, Pint-Sized Horror kills that off, Pint-Sized Horror kills everything except the Corpse Taker on the board. Dragonfire gets the job done. What's it going to be? Dragonfire off the top. Okay. That's a start.
It's a start, but next turn he's going to get rid of a 4/8.
Yeah, that's harder.
That's going to be harder. That thing's going to do damage
That's
quickly.
tougher to do.
Maybe this buys him enough time to get a live turn going.
Yeah, maybe. Even just a 3/5 on board to contest. And importantly, Astro doesn't have a Bone Mare in hand yet. So Stormwatcher's good, but it's not game-ending right now.
It's not. This is where you wish you'd brought your Gadgetzan along. It's easy to say because the other way around is often much more useful as well. And we've seen some people playing Lyra and Gadgetzan, and one of the chats went along the lines of, you know, just with people, sort of, why would you ever do that? And we thought about it. After a while, we thought, oh, you just play one or the other. It's just, they're both good.
Cydonia does pick up the Shadow Reaper Anduin off the top, which will provide a kill on the Stormwatcher. But he needs to not die this turn. 10 from the Stormwatcher on the board, 2 from the Tark Reaper, and 1 from the Hero Power. Means that Cydonia is working with an effective 4-life. Bone Mare ends the game. Cold Blood ends the game. Leroy ends the game, although I don't think that Astrogation is running Leroy.
Yeah,
He's elected to go.
I feel that the Stormwatcher.
Yeah, I think that's probably where one of the cuts came in.
I wonder.
He can Spirit Lash. Heal for 2, take out Tark Reaper. He can Lyra Spirit Lash, heal for 3.
That
puts him at
better.
20.
That seems much better.
Then you've got a 10 damage Stormwatcher.
It gets you out of range of a lot of things.
It does. Bone Mare comes down, Cold Blood comes down. That's an 18 damage Stormwatcher. With a Hero Power is 19. That's not 20.
Cydonia, you need to go and do things now.
All right, that's totally fine. He's going to put himself out of range of the Cold Blood plus the Hero Power.
It's a good job he did.
Yeah, it certainly is. So that is 18 damage from Stormwatcher, 1 damage from the Dagger, 1 damage off lethal for Astrogation, and Cydonia will have the Shadow Reaper Anduin on turn 8 to take the kill. Astro's going for it, as he rightfully should, and he can kill to Lyra as well with that Vile Spine.
And the other thing with the Vile Spine, of course, is if your opponent plays Anduin, Vile Spine just sits and chills and does another 3 damage out of that 5 armor straight away. It's just an instant fight back.
All right, well, it's got to be Anduin. Cydonia is going to go up to 7, and Astro's got 4 on board, so still plenty of outs in deck for Astrogation.
Yeah, and another Cold Blood, for instance, is plenty with a 2.
A Bone Mare will get the job done, but...
By 7 even, I think he's got the mana for Dagger, and yes, he has. So.
I think that Cydonia has found his window. That's a whiff. Astro's damage from hand is bad, right? It all depends on what can he have on board to close out this game. And now he's not going to be able to attack for lethal this turn. If Cydonia can counter and clear this board, Astro will have a couple of turns to get the damage with a dagger, and Cydonia will have a couple of turns to find some life gain.
So no Raza, so he's going to have to do it the cheapest way possible to get the multiple uses here.
Oh man, I don't think he can do it. He can't get through that Divine Shield and deal 4.
Doesn't seem like he can, on top of all the other things he needs to kill.
There's just not mana available, and still no Shadow Word Horror. So disappointing. He had the Anduin.
Yeah.
He was so close, but just not quite there. Finally ran Astrogation out of resources, but didn't have that final board clear. He can deal 12 damage. All right, so this could net Shadow Word Horror, and then you still have Pint-Sized Horror. It's got to be Horror. It's Pyro.
He's making a gain. Can he do anything this time? I don't think
Pyro,
so.
and you have 3 mana remaining, which is just Holy Smite, Mind Blast. No.
Not enough.
No, it's over. Cydonia trying desperately to fight back from that early deficit. Almost was able to do it, but with no Raza, with no Kazakus, and with no life gain, it is not going to be enough. And that means Astrogation is going to the top 16 with a 3-0 victory over Cydonia.
Yeah,
what a win for Astro.
Such a shame that one of these players has to go out, but so pleased for Astro at the same time. Just one of those really difficult win-and-ins, but he didn't make it look difficult. The Rogue just going through that lineup.
That's Rogue. That's the story of Rogue for this tournament. It has taken so many of the bans, and I think that that is why a lot of the players that have made it through top 16 have, because Priest is a Highlander deck. Yes, it's got answers to everything, but it's less consistent. Rogue just doesn't seem to ever give up on the board. You get it early, you don't lose it. The Shaman from Cydonia, which is supposed to be slightly favored against the Rogue, couldn't get the win. The Priest, which has board clears for days, could not find the pieces. And the Rogue just sweeps against one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, something we're seeing quite often now is the people who aren't banning Rogue have bought Shaman as a counter. But Rogue has just got a little bit better over time, a little bit more refined. And Shaman, even if it's favored, is not a counter. And if you lose that Shaman-Rogue match, it just seems like you fold up a lot of the time at the moment.
Yeah, that is why I can't honestly think of anybody else right now off the top of my head who has that Shaman in the 4th deck slot. that has made it to the top 16. I'm sure that there is somebody, but it has definitely not been the popular 4th deck choice. Zoo Warlock, that demon build with Blood Fury potions in particular, seems to have been performing a lot better. We've seen some mages. Amnesiac was saying that there's a lot of quest mage out there with giants, actually, that people have been playing and succeeding with. It's not just Tars this time around. Other people have jumped on that quest mage bandwagon, and it's succeeding.
They've got Tars in their eyes.
They've got Tars in their eyes, and maybe they've got tears in their eyes if it doesn't work. Or maybe they've got happy tears if it does. But either way you cut it, unfortunate for Cydonia, massive, massive for Astrogation making it to that top 16. And now we have an incredible lineup going into this top 16, the likes of which I don't think I've seen since DreamHack Austin, when we had like 3 of the 4 Tempo Storm players in that top 16.
We did have Zalay versus Muzzy, of course, in Montreal.
That was pretty good too.
But yeah, the Austin one was a terrific top 16. We've definitely got a chance to mirror that one here today.
It's just going to be an incredible single elimination stage. Of course, it's unfortunate that we have to cut to a single elimination, right? Because all of these players have worked so hard. They've played 9 rounds of Swiss, and you finally see the best of the best emerging from the rest of the pack. But then you gotta find your champion somehow. And the top 16 is the way that you do it. We have got 3 previous North American DreamHack champions in our top 16. And we will be back very shortly with that final bracket for the top 16. We've got to make the cut, so go get a snack, go take a quick break. We're gonna be back as soon as we possibly can with the single elimination portion of DreamHack Denver.